His contemporary. Anis uses 100,000 words in Urdu. More than anyone else has ever used. The Urdu that we are speaking today has reached us directly, not because of Ghalib, but because of Anis. Anis and Dabir, because they were always being pitted against each other, so one would say a marsiya and the second one would answer. Anis wrote a marsiya of 50 stanzas, and each stanza is 6 lines in a marsiya. He wrote a marsiya of 50 stanzas which did not have a dot. It's called Ghair Manqut, no nukta. In response to it, Dabir wrote one of 101 stanzas. I happen, because I love marsiyas, and I happen to have this book, the Ghair Manqut Marsiye of Anis and Dabir. Now there's just no nukta here. What an amazing miracle. How can you write? I can't write a single line without using a letter that has a nukta or not. Dabir, so the reason I'm going on and on about Anis and Dabir and about Lucknow and Delhi is because now in this background you will see how Ghalib emerges as a refreshing voice, is a completely fresh voice. The point I'm trying to make is that after Anis and Dabir, who would dare to write anything in Marsiya? Because they were just too good. Dabir represented the more majestic form. किस शेर की आमद है कि रन कांप रहा है, रन एक तरफ चरख कोहन कांप रहा है, और रुस्तम का बदन जेर कफन कांप रहा है, हर कसरे सलातीन ज़मन कांप रहा है, और शमशीर बकफ देख के हैदर के पिसर को जिब्रील लरसते हैं समेटे हुए पर को. ये दबीर की क़यामत की बात है. But Anis has a different लहजा. जंगल से आई फातिमा ज़हरा की ये सदा, उम्मत ने मुझको लूट लिया वाह मोहम्मदा. इस वक्त कौन हक़ रिफ़ाक़त करे अदा, हाय हाय ये गम और वो आलम का मुक़्तदा. 1900 है जख्म तने चाक चाक पर, ज़ैनब निकल हुसैन तड़पता है खाक पर. Munshi Asir was a great poet of his time in Lucknow. He had spent years constructing 15 or 16 long marsiyas. Maybe 20-25 years in which he wrote 16-17 marsiyas. He happened to attend the majlis of Anis, in which Anis recited Jab Ata ki Musafat Shab Aftab ne Jalwa kiya Seher ke Rukhe be Hijab ne. I know this entire marsiya by heart, by the way. It is a great piece. Munshi Asir was so overcome. He quietly went to his house. He picked up his 16 marsiyas on which he had spent 25 years. He went to the river and he sank them. And he said, in front of Anis, no one should be able to write a marsiya. That was the place of Anis and Dabir in Lucknow. Mir Anis was writing 20th century Urdu in the 19th century. His language was unique because it represented a combination of the magnificence of Urdu with the simplicity and minimalism that you don't find anywhere else except with Anis. In fact, he himself says about the language, because he was brought up initially in Delhi, then moves to Lucknow. So he has mastered both the Delhi and the Lucknow styles. सच है ये तर्ज खास कोई जानता नहीं. Mir Anis says about himself, सच है ये तर्ज खास कोई जानता नहीं, जो जानता है और को वो मानता नहीं. Anis was also inspired to write some ghazals. And one of his ghazals actually became very famous. भर के अफशां जो नजर यार ने की तारों पर. Now imagine काली आपकी मांग में अफशां, भर के अफशां जो नजर यार ने की तारों पर, आसमां रात को लोटा किया अंगारों पर. But his father told him, don't go where Ghalib is. Don't do ghazal. Write marsiyas. So Mir Anis basically wrote a few ghazals. Even they became very popular and then concentrated on marsiya. Ghalib, on the other hand, was requested over and over that you have written so many ghazals now, how about writing a marsiya? So he wrote a marsiya. हाँ ए नफसे बादे सहर शोला फिशा हो, ए दजले हूँ चश्मे मलाइक से रवा हो, वगैरह वगैरह. He wrote 3 stanzas and then he stopped. These are the only 3 stanzas that Ghalib wrote of marsiya. He stopped and he said that writing a marsiya while Anis and Dabir are alive is not just trying to spite Anis and Dabir, but spiting the entire genre of marsiya. It is an insult to the genre of marsiya to write it in front of these two. That is how great they were. I mean, think about it, there are 17,000 shares on just the sword of the Imam. 11,000 shares on his horse. What possible novelty could you bring when greats like that are writing with eloquence and with such faravani? So with this background, how difficult it would be to write a marsiya. And yet Ghalib manages to break through and make such an impression. It is unbelievable. We are only going to do 2 or at most 3 shares, probably just 2. And because I said that it is meant for younger people, I asked my daughter Shahrzad to recite those 3 shares that we are going to look at from what I call the elegiac ghazal of Ghalib. It is a ghazal which combines marsiya and ghazal together.